Welcome to everyone. I'm Kathy Klink, a member of the Hamilton Community Foundation Board of Trustees, chair of the Education Committee, and a fellow educator. I'm so glad that all of you are here this evening because I can't think of a better way to celebrate and recognize the achievements of the educators than to have it happen in front of your peers. I salute each and every one of you. And I'm delighted that Harry T. Wilkes continues to support education through his many unique ways. It's education that makes a significant difference in our world, and through Harry's involvements, we've been able to do a lot of things here in our community, so we're delighted about that. I want to introduce to you Sean Higgins, who is your Master of Ceremonies, and he's here somewhere, right here. Okay, take it away, Sean.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you for your time and energy with the community as well. We gather together again to celebrate education and educators and to say thank you. Welcome again to all the teachers, educators, our superintendent. Last time I saw my superintendent of our schools here, he was dressed like a pirate. But that was last weekend. It's a different place now. Very good. This evening we are going to highlight some of the winners of the grant recipients from last year, introduce you to our nominees for this year, and of course have our awards given out through this evening. And again, we want to iterate and say thank you to Mr. Harry T. Wilkes. This opportunity that we have this evening is through his fund at the Hamilton Community Foundation, so we also want to thank the staff of the Hamilton Community Foundation for their work and the many things that Mr. Wilkes has left for the community, his legacy, whether it be at Miami University in Middletown, or I'm sorry, in Hamilton, or in Oxford, and of course his giving to the arts with the Cincinnati Opera, and near and dear to my heart, Pyramid Hill Sculpture Park and Museum. So we are very appreciative that Mr. Wilkes was able to leave that for us, and also appreciative to the family that the legacy continues. We appreciate the Wilkes and the Lonnies, and thank you very much for keeping this going for the community, because it is very important and very special. And we want to, if I could, acknowledge some of the folks who put the program together and have them stand, and afterwards we'll give them a round of applause. If I could introduce Dirk Allen from Baden High School, if you could stand please. Also Katie Braswell from Hamilton Community Foundation. This is the committee. Steve Colwell, TV Hamilton. Joni Kopis from the Hamilton City Schools. Joni. Leah Fields from Hamilton City Schools. Angie Gray from Baden High School. Betsy Hope from the Hamilton Community Foundation, also running around with Katie all evening. And Dr. Beverly Taylor from Miami University. Actually, Dr. Taylor, I'm going to have you stand back up here. As we move forward with the proceedings, by the way, the bell, we decided it was a school bell, and we had a suggestion that we should make it one of those tones, beep, make everybody feel more at home, that, okay, it's time to sit down and be quiet. It's been a while since I've been in school. Okay, I'd like to introduce, we're going to start to talk about the recipients for this year. And to do so, I'd like to introduce Dr. Beverly Taylor, who is on the committee, but also professor of physics at Miami University in Hamilton. She received her PhD from Clemson University, specializing in quantum physics. Okay, who's intimidated? Her scholarly work has included development of curriculum materials for middle school students and investigation of issues related to the success of females in science at both middle school and college levels. So she's reinvested her knowledge in the community. And as part of Miami's Teaching Science with Toys program, she has led in-service workshops that reach thousands of teachers nationwide. She was also selected as a fellow of the American Association of Physics Teachers in recognition of her contribution in the field of physics education. I'd like to introduce Dr. Beverly Taylor. We can see today.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? Good evening. I want to take an impromptu moment. Yes, Sean, I know this wasn't in the schedule. To share something that struck me today. I'm in the process of reading one of Anne Cleeve's mystery books. If you know the PBS show Vera, she's the one that wrote the book the show is based on. And the murder victim in this particular story is a social worker. And as Vera is interviewing some of her close friends to try to learn more about them, one of the friends says, you know, I don't know why anyone would want to be a social worker. They get all the blame and none of the credit. It just struck me as I read that many times the same thing could be said about teachers. And so one of the things we're about here tonight is to try to give all of the educators in the room credit for the wonderful things you do for our students here in Hamilton. So with that, we're going to start giving credit by looking at our video of the wonderful things that last year's grant recipients did in their classrooms with the money they were given.
Brookwood Lego League, it's a program that we started here 2 years ago. It's a STEM program that involves robotics for children, which there's a robotics competition. The students get to design and program their own robot with a kit of a lot of pieces, including motors and sensors, and then there's a computer program that they have to use to program it to do what they want it to do. They have to solve a real-world problem that's in connection with the theme for the year. So this past year's theme was Trash Trek, and so they had to identify a real-world problem in the world of trash and then come up with an innovative solution to solve that problem, and they could take off with it. They had to research, and they had to design a prototype, and when they went to the competition, they have to show the judges, they have to demonstrate and present all of their ideas, as well as present their robot and compete their robot against other teams across the region. When we first started this, we decided that we wanted to save a few spots for students on an IEP or a 504 if they had some kind of a disability, to provide them opportunities to interact with students maybe they don't have the opportunity to meet typically during the week. So we have 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. We have kids that are in the gifted program. We've had hearing impaired students, learning disabled students, and they interact and they're engaging and making new friends. And honestly, you can see their confidence really building as they're learning something that's sort of outside the realm of school typically, and they find out they're good at it. We have 2 teams, so each team meets 2 times per week from 3:30 to 5. It runs from really the first week of school until December when they go to a competition. We decided to have extra programming just for fun. And so we had 3 different groups. We had advanced programming, intermediate, and now we've started 3rd graders to see if they're interested in it next year. And they've moved up and they're doing beginner programming. I'd like to thank the Wilkes family and the Hamilton Community Foundation for the grant that provided us the opportunity to have a second Lego League team at Brookwood Elementary this year.
My grant title is the Adaptive Skills Learning Cohort. The main goal is that students are learning to be ready for life after high school with all of the adaptive and social skills that they need, from learning to actually cook and have guests over and have manners and social skills and social interactions, to actually preparing the food to be independent and living on their own. Students have learned a variety of things. They first and foremost learn kitchen safety and how to use knives appropriately, how to be careful around a burner, how to be careful when you're working with different ingredients and temperatures for cooking. And then that translates into all the cross-curriculars. So we talk about measurement with math. We talk about elapsed time. How long does it take to cook something? Going into even their reading class and knowing how to read a recipe. Cooking is something that they all have mentioned that they really enjoyed, but wanted to learn more about. In addition, it's just a good transition skill that these students will need to be truly independent, which is a lot of their goals. They all want to be independent when they leave high school.
I actually cook at home now. When Miss Rocky first did a little cooking class. We did a recipe of the dipping sauce for the Super Bowl, and I actually cooked that for the Super Bowl.
Receiving this grant has been a true blessing in my life and in the life of my students. It's really encouraged me as a teacher to grow. The Harry T. Wilkes grant basically funded the entire thing. As a second-year teacher, I didn't have much supply-wise, so they were able to help me purchase all of the equipment in the room, such as the mini fridge to store food in, the microwave to cook with, all of the mixing bowls, anything we cook with, all of the ingredients, and I even have a few mini laptops where they've done some research on.
Thank you, Hamilton Community Foundation.
The Harry T. Wilkes grant helped fund a purchase of 4 tilt-top tables, and we'd like to, continue that in the future. This was good that we started out small so we could see, how the students, if they would use them to maximize, and the space. They're a little bit larger, so we needed to consider the space too, but they seem to be working out really, really well. Students come in after school to use them, so it's been very helpful, and it's not extra funding we had in our budget. Well, the tilt-top tables kind of act like an easel, so they can either use it flat if we're doing like more of a sculptural project or a three-dimensional project, or they can use them to bring their projects more to eye level. If they're drawing directly from a still life we might have set up in the room, and in more advanced classes if we're drawing from a live model. They can look at the model so it doesn't break up their line of vision. So, looking down, once you look down and you look up, you lose some perspective immediately. So this keeps that line of vision right in their way. It's a little more user-friendly, I think. And these have the tray on them, so if they're doing a canvas or more of a thicker surface, like a board or something, they can line it up, and they can also use the T-squares on the edge of the tables as well, which is nice. These are really nice if you compare the two tables. These are a lot larger too, so it gives them a little more workspace.
Well, they were a lot higher up, so it helped with the perception. And they're a lot easier to work on because of the ledge that they have. So not everything's going everywhere. So a lot more organization.
I think the kids are more excited to use them because it is more of a professional type desk. It doesn't look like a traditional art room table. It is a professional desk. It encourages them to explore other materials. I received a Harry T. Wilkes grant many years ago when I was teaching at St. Julie Billiart, and we did Art from the Heart, where we created artwork for everyday heroes like firemen, teachers. So I'm a big fan of the Community Foundation. The Harry Wilkes funding has really helped us. We're very pleased and we thank you very much.
The H2O water quality study was part of our curriculum, and it was there to showcase, first of all, Hamilton's water. One of the things that's great about Hamilton is we have a river running right through the center of town, and it really is the centerpiece of our city. And so I really wanted to make sure that the kids understood how important that water source was and how to keep it clean, be good stewards of that water. In addition, they got to see our world quality water being made and tested in action. So we actually went to the water treatment plant and got to see how they finish up making our water the best water in the world. The Harry T. Wilkes grant paid for the field trip to the water treatment facility, and it also paid for water quality testing equipment. So we did not, for this level, and it's not a chemistry class, it's an environmental science class. For this level of class, there hadn't been any dedicated resources to being able to do water quality studies. So the grant paid for and will continue to pay for future years where we can do this part of the curriculum in a very authentic way. So the equipment that was purchased using the Harry T. Wilkes grant can be reused as part of the water quality curriculum going forward for at least the next 5 years. I really think the purpose of this class in general was to make sure that students are aware of their environmental impact. So absolutely, I know that there were some eye-opening places within the curriculum where they're going to have to really think about the consequences of their actions going forward, not just with water quality, which is a very important part of Hamilton City, but also in the bigger picture. I'm just so appreciative of all the financial support that Harry T. Wilkes gives to the community, and I really am so grateful, and I know my students are grateful for the opportunity to be able to use this money for their own learning.
Aspiro is a robotic ball that can do many things. Students code this to do STEM activities.
It's this robotic ball that you can program or control it.
Thanks to the Wilkes grant, we were able to purchase 5 Spiros. We were able to create a Spiro club.
We did some really cool things with Sphero. We painted and bowled, and most of all, we tried to help with hearing impaired students. We had to interview hearing impaired or deaf students, research the needs of those students and the types of technology already being used.
An after-school program was created, and it was divided into two different parts, core and STEM. Core is a series of lessons designed to help students build their coding, robotic, and math skills.
It was pretty awesome because you usually don't program or like with art. You usually program with robots.
A lot of the STEM activities that we did are classic STEM activities, such as building a contraption to carry pennies across water.
Sphero is so heavy, it's hard to get materials that float. And it would push all the stuff down toward, and the pennies would usually fall out into the water.
We also did a bridge building activity in second grade. Their bridge had to carry a Spiro across it.
You have to build a bridge for a Sphero to cross without the bridge collapsing with the material selected. It was really hard to program Sphero when there were so many buttons to press and you were so curious.
The chariot challenge was very challenging, and the math was hard too. On the maze part, we had to drive the chariot in and out of cones and make it land perfectly on a dot. We love Sphero. Thank you, Hamilton Community Foundation.
One thing that I noticed in my classroom that I needed to be able to create literacy stations, and I needed technology to do that. So we are fortunate enough to have Chrome carts, but I can't always have access to them. So I wanted to make sure that I could have Chromebooks in my room at all times. So when I wrote the grant, I wrote it so that I could have 4 Chromebooks along with cordless headphones. And that way I can have different stations going on in my room at the same time. Some kids will go off on their own with a Chromebook and listen to a story. They might be on a different chapter, depending where they are. But I've noticed just managing my groups in my classroom, it's a lot calmer, and I think they enjoy it because they're taking a handle of their own learning. They're in charge of their learning. So it helped them grow as learners, I think.
One time, Miss Sari said that we could all get a book at the beginning of the year, and it was a Percy Jackson book. And then I decided that I really liked it, and I was about 3/4 through, and I go out and buy all the books. That's what got me into reading.
I feel like it gave me the opportunity to have great resources in my classroom that I wouldn't otherwise be able to afford. The kids enjoy it, and they've even asked me next year if they're going to be able to take the stuff with them, and I'm like, no, it stays here. So
On the Chromebooks like Storyline Online or Storia, you can search books that you really want to read, and you can usually have a lot more books on the computer than a regular library can.
I just want to thank them for allowing me to bring this to my classroom. My kids don't get the opportunity to have access to this kind of stuff at home. And sometimes in a classroom, it's hard. It costs a lot of money. And just by them doing this and allowing us to have this stuff, the kids got to explore different things. We've had access all year to the Chromebooks and online. As the year's gone on, I feel like all of my kids are reading. This has allowed me to do that.
Well, I decided to do this project because I was spending a lot of my own money to do fabulous lessons with food. And when I mapped this out, I had lessons for the entire year covering all the different subject areas. And this money that we are so grateful for has afforded us the opportunity to do more lessons than I could have ever dreamed in all the subject areas, and it has been completely awesome.
We found through using food that it makes the lessons more concrete, and it keeps the kids more engaged because they're able to use the food as manipulatives. The Skittles project is kind of ongoing, but at different levels depending on where we are in the year. So the Skittles become a visual when we walk around to see that the students are putting their thought into a sentence. We can put the Skittle down to be the punctuation.
The sorting, you can sort and make bar graphs with the stuff. You got to pick a Hershey Kiss. Then you write it on a piece of paper and you looked all over to see like period.
Anytime you have food, everything's better. And the students completely agree.
You learn how to do science and math and other stuff like that.
We've also used it for an author study to connect books and food that reminds us of the books.
My favorite was the Seuss snacks. We talk about Dr. Seuss and the book series, and then our teacher gives us something like part of the Lorax or One Fish, Two Fish.
Thank you for making learning delicious.
Next, I want to recognize the 2006 grant winners. They got their money back in August, and I'm sure at this point are well along their way to spending it and developing lots of new curriculum for their classrooms. But we want to tell you who they are. And so if you will please stand as I call your name if you're here. And in previous years at this point, I have said, please hold your applause till the end. That has not yet ever worked, so I'm not going to say it this year. And I believe these are in alphabetical order by the school. Sarah Daniels, Stephen Baden High School. Her project is Art and Soul, Walks of Art. Kim Westrick, Brookwood Elementary School. The project is Rubik's Cube Education. Christy Bunger, also Brookwood Elementary School, for hands-on robotics. Robin Zari, Fairwood Elementary School. Enhancing student learning with FOSS kits, and if you don't know, that's science. Lori Mills, Ridgeway Elementary. For fine motor fun. Emily Kane, Mindy Callahan, and Stacy Sandlin, Ridgeway Elementary School. For a project entitled Wiggle, Move, Learn. And I can't wait to see next year's video on that one. Beth Rudolph, Riverview Elementary School. For Snack Cart Project. Before I turn the podium back over to Sean, I want to take just a minute to express my thank you to the members of the judging committee who put in a lot of hours reading the proposals you write for grants and the teacher nominations from each school. And so you have their names in the program, but I want to just ask each person that was on the judging committee to rise for a moment so we can tell you thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. And a little transition right now. If we could, we'd like to have the educator nominees please go ahead and come forward and form a line to, let's see, that's my left, that's your right. Okay, yes. Over to this side. All the educator nominees come forward, please. Good to have you here. And I would like to say, again, we have filled this room in support of teachers with bodies, but you are allowed to fill the room with noise in support of teachers. So I know there's a number of people who have family, friends, co-workers, your posse, whatever. You're allowed to be loud and proud. It's your school, you're teachers, you're allowed to be boisterous. It's okay. What I'm going to do is introduce you to each of the nominees. They'll come forward on the stage and they'll wave to you. And then they're going to head this way towards Beverly. So we'll start with our list here. And I think I'm in alphabetical order, but again, I'm not a teacher. Deb Brocious from Brookwood Elementary, please come forward. Melinda Coswell from Ridgeway Elementary. Scott Dickerson, Garfield Middle School. Chrissy Grable, Fairwood Elementary. Good to see you. Kathleen Gromley, Hamilton Freshman Middle School. Okay, I'm going to cross out middle school, underline freshman. Got it, okay. Abraham Harris, Riverview Elementary. Our next nominee is Linda Keating from Highland Elementary School. In her place is her son Patrick, who is also an educator at Baden. Gwenda Laney from St. Anne's School, unfortunately, was not able to join us this evening, but please, let's recognize her. Jennifer McQueen from Bridgeport Elementary. If we could also recognize Dustin Monday from Hamilton High School, also not able to join us, but please, let's give a round for Dustin. By the way, I take great care in crossing these off because if you've been here before, you've seen me lose count, repeat, skip people. I'm going to try to stay on track tonight. Myron Pete Vaness from Crawford Woods Elementary. Ty Smallwood, Wilson Middle School. And Laura Warner from St. Peter and Shane School. And let's give a round of applause to all of this year's nominees. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce the finalists by way of showing you a video for each of the finalists. And here's what we're going to do. I will say the finalist's name, then we're going to watch the video, then have the finalists come forward, please, because each of the 5 finalists will receive an engraved glass apple as well as a $500 grant to be used. Yeah, all right. A $500 grant to be used in their school or district to promote education excellence. So there, again, the possibilities of what we're able to present here is just wonderful to celebrate education this evening. So again, we will start with the videos of the 5 finalists. First, Deb Brocious from Brookwood Elementary.
Brookwood Elementary School enthusiastically nominates Deb Brocious as a Harry T. Wilkes Educator of the Year. Compassionate, inventive, and a team player. Those words describe this educator nominee. Her classroom hums with energy as she uses repetition, rhyming, stories, and song to teach letters, numbers, and words.
I nominated Mrs. Brocious for Teacher of the Year because she's able to get kindergartners to do things I never imagined were possible. She's data-driven. She's great about keeping things for each student. She sends home folders with all of the things they've done for the week, and she keeps track of those so she can really see them make growth. So I don't just get a feeling of what my child's doing in her classroom, I see it. And lucky for me, not only do I get to work with her as a colleague, but I also get to see my children make growth in her classroom.
My mom was a teacher in Hamilton, and I just always wanted to be a teacher, and I just love kindergarten. It just seems to be that if you want to teach kindergarten, you have to love it and have the passion for it.
She's probably one of the most creative teachers I've ever known, kindergarten-wise or early childhood education, because my background is in early childhood. So I've had several years of experience working with teachers that work with younger students, and Debbie is a very high caliber teacher in kindergarten. She really is.
With these words, Brookwood Elementary School enthusiastically nominates Deb Brocious as a Harry T. Wilkes Educator of the Year.
Our next nominee is Melinda Caswell from Ridgeway Elementary.
Ridgeway Elementary music teacher Melinda Caswell does more than help students understand and appreciate music. This outstanding teacher nominee knows that as a vehicle for self-expression, music can inspire and delight.
I feel extremely blessed to be at Hamilton because they value the fine arts. Performing music is the only genre that will spark every portion of your brain. It ignites everything all at once.
Music should be fun. It should also include movement, which is encouraged through games involving singing, dancing, and play.
So when I think of Melinda Caswell, I think of a spectacular teacher. She takes so much into consideration, the music genres, different cultures. Her teaching is amazing. The kids absolutely love music. She's involved in so many things. She does 5th and 6th grade chorus, and they meet after school. She does that on her own time. As far as other things that don't involve music, she also has a big role on our green team. She helped create all of our paths throughout our property. So we're very thankful for everything Melinda does for our students here at Ridgeway Elementary.
Ridgeway Elementary School proudly nominates Melinda Caswell as a Harry T. Wilkes Educator of the Year.
Our next finalist is Scott Dickerson from Garfield Middle School.
Garfield Middle School history teacher Scott Dickerson believes the roles of leader, teacher, and coach are his passion and calling. As his 8th graders enter his classroom in the fall, they often ask, why is learning American history even necessary? As the year unfolds, they discover the answer for themselves. Many report back years later that 8th grade history was their favorite class.
Every school year, there's a line at the door of former students waiting to come back and see Scott. And there's really something telling. We can think a teacher is good, but when you have those former students year in and year out always come back to the building and always want to see Scott, that's something special.
Positively impacting young lives and interacting in deep and meaningful ways with students is highly valued by Scott.
I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is something I want to do. I want to be able to impact lives. I want to work, with young people. And so, that's how I decided to go into education.
I was honored to nominate Scott. If I had to say anything about Mr. Dickerson, I would say that his actions speak much louder than his words. He's a man of modesty, yet if you asked any teacher or student in the building, they would, without a doubt, say Mr. Dickerson is deserving of this award. He really exemplifies what it means to be an educator. He understands the balance between the educational and social and emotional needs of the child and works above and beyond to meet those for all of his kids.
Scott is a Natural Educator of the Year nominee.
Our next finalist is Abraham Harris from Riverview Elementary.
Riverview Elementary art teacher Abe Harris takes extra measures to ensure each child feels special.
In his art class, it's not just art. He covers the entire curriculum for the students, which is really just awesome. So, I mean, if there's somebody who really excels in art and maybe they don't excel in the regular classroom, they'll excel in Abe's class.
This is just one of this teacher's valuable lessons and why he is Riverview's 2016 nominee for Educator of the Year.
He's a teacher. He's a volunteer. He takes our kids to camp every year. He is the intramurals coordinator for our building. So he coaches volleyball, basketball, soccer. He coaches track.
He demonstrates on a daily basis that we can overcome barriers and thrive. When students see him, they witness an I can attitude in action.
I really just try to focus on, doing the best at the things I do have control over and letting those choices decide how my day's going to go and how my life's going to go. And I hope that the kids kind of see that as an example.
I know he's an inspiration to me. He's an inspiration to the whole faculty, the families, the whole Riverview family. He's an amazing teacher, a very thoughtful friend, a great husband and dad. Abe is the total package.
For these reasons, Riverview Elementary proudly nominates Abe Harris as Educator of the Year.
And our final finalist is Ty Smallwood from Wilson Middle School.
Wilson Middle School nominates Ty Smallwood as their Harry T. Wilkes Educator of the Year. Ty is now principal at Highland Elementary School and is incorporating many of these same ideas he has already used so successfully.
Ty is focused and talented and creative and intelligent. He's a leader. He's a born leader. He's a mentor. He's a coach. He's an advocate. The Wilson community just loved him, they respected him, and they followed him. He was involved in so many things. He had a lunch book club for male athletes that were at risk. He led Knights of the Knowledge Table, which was a homework club after school. He was involved with Future Business Leaders of America.
For several years, Ty has been deeply committed to Leadership Academy at Blue as a mentor and advisor.
My involvement with the lab program, I think, is really something that I'm proud of. Ashawn Riggins is my first mentee, and I called him the other day, and he's going through the rounds of a first-year college student. Just to be able to facilitate any help I can to get a student into that collegiate experience or beyond has been the biggest thing for me.
We're just better people at Wilson, better educators for having known this young man. He's touched us with his warm personality, his passion for education. He's challenged us. He's helped us realize our best selves.
This combination of outstanding classroom educator, one-on-one mentor to both students and fellow educators, and innovative administrator are why Wilson Middle School chose Ty Smallwood as their Harry T. Wilkes Educator nominee.
Let's give a hand again to our 5 finalists. And again, thanks to the Harry T. Wilkes Fund, we were able to provide, again, a $500 grant for each one of the finalists, as well as the engraved glass apple. So, we've come to the most important part of the evening. Oh, I've got stuff back here. This is really cool. Among the things that our winner this year, oh, that has a name on it. You can't see it backwards, can you? A crystal bowl, so I put that back. And a $3,000 grant to be used in the winner's school or district to promote education excellence, as well as the engraved glass bowl. There is not a name on the front. Okay, then I can hold it this way. They didn't even let me see the name this year, so I have no idea. I didn't tell anybody last year, I swear. The winner of the Harry T. Wilkes Hamilton Celebrates Education Educator of the Year is Melinda Caswell from Ridgeway Elementary.
That's a good thing Mrs. Wagonfield made me write something. So I really didn't want to. And I just didn't think I'd be standing here. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. It really has been my experience that the teachers here in Hamilton, they give with their whole hearts. And this evening, I'm representing all of the extraordinary educators in this room. And wow, the amazing educators on those videos. It's humbling and an honor to be chosen. This is really an amazing award. I stick to the notes. I want to thank everyone in the Harry T. Wilkes Education of Excellence Grant. It's amazing what you do and what you do for education. It must feel really good. The Hamilton Community Foundation, my extraordinarily amazing colleagues at Ridgeway, they are my extended family, without a doubt. I just love you guys so much. Our district's fine arts department, we have some amazing fine arts teachers here and are led by Terry McKee, just really amazing. And our board members and administration who still really understand that fine arts is just an integral, it's a really important part of child development. And I'm lucky to be here. They get that. And then of course my family, my kids, Alex and Emma, and Zoe, my husband Zach. I love you guys. And my mom and dad are here tonight, Mike and Linda Long. I wanted to say to mom and dad that they've influenced me in my life in so many ways. I mean, I certainly can't name them now, but I wanted to thank you for teaching me how to give, how to give with a kind, generous heart, without any kind of need for recognition or getting something back in return. You just have always been there to give to people, always. They're the most generous people I know. So thank you for teaching me that. Really, thank you for every single educator in this room, because we are champions. We're fighters. You know, we need to know that and believe it. When I was, wait, Mrs. Wakefield, I'm sorry, I didn't even say your name. I love you. When she told me about this award, I was just overwhelmed because, I don't know, it's very humbling, it's overwhelming. And a song always pops in my head, I can't help it. And a song kept popping in my head. And I was thinking about it, trying to write words and make it sound so cool. And I couldn't. The song just kept popping in my head. So I thought if for some strange reason I was standing here, that I might share it with you tonight. It's called My Tribute. It's an old hymn that I knew, well, I've known all my life because of my mom and dad. How can I say thanks for the things you have done for me? Things so undeserved, yet you gave to prove your love for me. The voices of a million angels cannot express my gratitude. All that I am and ever hope to be, I owe it all to you. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. To God be the glory for the things He has done. And with His blood, He has saved me, and with His power, He has raised me. To God be the glory for the things He has done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. And I'd like to, before we go any further, I'd like to say, did you notice how many times in these videos that we heard the educators refer to their classroom as my kids, we, us? I think that gives an indication of the caliber of the educators we have in the school system. So at every table, we have folks that are teachers. We thank you. We thank you for what you're doing for our youth, for what you're doing for our future, and what you're doing for Hamilton. So to all of you, we say thank you very much. Give yourselves a hand. We got to wrap it up. Tomorrow's a school day. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you to the committee and the Hamilton Community Foundation. And we're going to have some pictures. Be safe on the way home.